attention to what's going on. And when everything that's appearing on your spontaneous presence, you are the knower of the sense of presence because you can sense that sense of presence. Therefore, you can't be the presence because you wouldn't be able to sense yourself. So you're the knower, a formless knower knowing this presence. And spontaneous presence, everything is appearing on. Everything that appears on spontaneous presence is absolutely illusion. So when the mind starts to stir of wanting to grab thoughts, it can't. And see, the cool thing is, the mind can only present thoughts in form because it's all it knows. The mind uses memories of past experience from form to present thoughts to you, the formless. Since you're formless, these thoughts are disregarded immediately, spontaneously. Think about if the mind started producing thoughts about you being on Mars. Wow, last time we were on Mars, you've never been there, so it's not you. And the mind will sit there and try to present memories or even project into the future with these thoughts that it's trying to get a thinker to think, you being the selfless self, the power and the energy to create a thinker that's thinking these thoughts, won't happen. Because the mind only knows the form. The mind does not know the formless. It's never been there. Because the mind appeared upon spontaneous presence and came along with the body on spontaneous presence in the form state. So the mind can only give memories and project future with form. Therefore, all these thoughts are discarded. Thoughts which are useful, you can take. Okay, it's a thought that I need to set my clothes out for tomorrow. Fine, go set the clothes out. It's finished. Yes, that's a thought in form, but it's something like Maharaj says, do your job, do your duties, whatever's right in front of you, do that. But if the mind starts to say, oh, I'm very lonely now, and the last relationship didn't work out, and this, wait a minute. All of that's being presented in form. It appears upon spontaneous presence. It's the same as if I was having memories of what happened in my dream last night. Why would that bother me? If the mind was able to sit there and give me memories of the dream I had last night, would I sit there and contemplate what needed to be done? No. And it's the same. Spontaneous presence, all this is appearing on spontaneous presence. The attention is completely inward. The outward show is illusion. All the senses that are using the senses can only sense the outside world, therefore, illusion.
So it's like...
Go ahead.
It's like keeping the focus on the knower. Is that what you're doing?
It's spontaneous. Once you know yourself in a real sense, that's why Maharaj says, know yourself in a real sense. Because the knowing yourself in a real sense, the form just doesn't, there's nothing that can hold your attention. It's just not like that. And even that sense of dying, okay, if you're in the hospital and the doctor says, oh, you have remember I told you about the dream where I had the doctor said I had a brain tumor. And I was like, oh, but it's absolutely illusion. I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Body is not my identity. The neighbor's child has a brain tumor.
You may feel sad for the neighbor's child, but it's not the same thing.
Exactly. It's not it's just because understand again, when the seeing is that this room, everything that occurs within this room is appearing on spontaneous presence because I am the knower of that sense of presence. I am that formless knower. Any form is discarded. So this me that's sitting in bed waiting to die, mantra, as it was mentioned how Charles did. mantra, ease, remain with the selfless self, trust and faith in the master, and no one's dying, no one's being born. And it just, the something that appeared for a time returned to the nothing. Only the ones that are still here, this selfless self that's seeing through the something still, is saying, oh, there's no longer a Charles. You know? But the one that's saying there's no longer a Charles is not, is the something in between the two nothing. And not even the two nothing, the one nothing that the something is appearing in, and then the something goes back to nothing. The selfless self, still believing in something, is seeing that, oh, this one died. But the selfless self that knows itself, it has no experience of death. No one experiences death, because to have an experience of death, there has to be somebody experiencing that death. It's not. And there's nowhere for you to go, because it's all... When the inward attention is seeing the outward self, and you know that this is a projection of your selfless self, where is there to go? It's all the projection that your selfless self is projecting. All the forms are inside your selfless self. So when one form is no more, where does that selfless self go? It's always, there's nowhere for it to go.
I think that's what...
Go ahead.
I think that's what Maharaj meant when he said that power is to know that I am everything.
Yeah. Again, if it's two eyes in space, and it's space, sky, it's everywhere. Sky doesn't know it's sky, space doesn't know it's space. You can consider it again, the breath. You're breathing in, that's your selfless self. You're breathing out, that's your selfless self. But it's all selfless self. So when the selfless self comes in, the selfless self comes out, and this is no more selfless self is still there. It always is. And you know it had to be there because this sense of beingness, this I am, this sense of presence, appeared upon that spontaneous presence.